It's been a very long time since I last talked about Destiny 2, but then again, it's been a very long time since Destiny 2 has garnered this level of backlash where near universally the entire community is rallying against them, and most recently because of their implementation of Transmog. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I'm not liking the direction that the games industry is starting to take Transmog. It feels like yet another quality of life feature that they're trying to slowly but surely kind of strip away so that they can sell back to players. We saw this with Assassin's Creed Valhalla when they implemented a Transmog system that was worse than what was previously there. In previous Assassin's Creed games, you could just do Transmog from the menu. In Immortals Fenyx Rising, you could just go to the menu and Transmog willy-nilly, and it was fantastic. In Valhalla, they introduced the system where you have to spend this limited in-game currency that you can also coincidentally purchase in their store, and fans were not happy about that. Now comes Bungie with Destiny 2, and their monetization strategy with Transmog is very aggressive, and this is all detailed in this April 22nd blog post. I'm not going to read through all of this, as this was very well summarized by this PC Gamer article whose headline reads, Destiny 2's new Transmog system is incredibly confusing and involves grinding bounties for some reason. We all know what that reason is, but I'll get to that in a bit. Destiny 2's new Transmog system, Bungie is calling the Armor Synthesis system, and it enables players to convert their armor's appearance into universal armor ornaments so they can effectively change up their look as they like. So basically, it's Transmog, make your armor look like something else so that you can, have the stats of one armor, but the appearance of another armor that you prefer the look of. And the complicated process by itself is already baffling people, so here's how you do Transmog in this game. You first have to earn what are called synth strands by killing enemies. Once 150 synth strands are earned, it can be turned into Ada 1 in the tower in exchange for class-specific bounties, which will award Synth Cord. Then you take Synth Cord, which can be converted to Synth Weave at the loom in the tower, and then finally you take that Synth Weave and use it to convert unlocked armor appearances, legendary or lower, in your collection into a universal armor ornament. PC Gamer then lists out examples of bounties, as class-specific bounties are things you have to do to earn the Synth Cord currency that then has to be converted to Synth Weave. Oh my god. Do you see what I mean? This confusing, convoluted mess? Just the level of complication here that is completely unnecessary. PC Gamer then asked why Bungie felt what ought to be a popular quality of life improvement needed to be lashed to the bounty mill. Only they will know. Oh, they know all right, and we know as well, and this is made especially apparent by these two catches. First of all, players can earn a maximum of 10 Synthweave per season per class, meaning a maximum of 2 full ensembles. The initial season offers double the amount as a gesture of goodwill. That's right, they're adding a cap to the number of Synthweaves you can earn in order to engage with this Transmog system per season. You can only earn these through gameplay in limited quantities per season. If you want to go further beyond that, if you want to get more Synthweaves after that, guess what you'll have to rely on? That's right, the marketplace, the Eververse. Want more? Then you're going to have to visit the Eververse store, where you can purchase Synthweave templates individually for 300 silver or in bundles of 5 for 1,000. So we're looking at $3 for individual templates, or you can purchase 5 for basically $10. By adding that cap, they're basically forcing players after a certain point to rely on having to spend additional real-world money if they wish to continue to engage with the Transmog system. It is very much as good as a paywalled system for those who engage with Transmog heavily. The community reaction has been, as you might expect, very negative. So for example, Twitter user Gigs right here basically joked about how complicated this process is, with step 4 being use the Synthweave to summon Shenron, the dragon, and be granted 3 wishes. We got another Twitter user who said, a cap on grindable Transmog, but us paying money for more feels like Bungie treating their Destiny 2 veterans like FTPers. The fact there even is a grind is an entirely different problem. My prediction, they'll sorta but not really fix it and will act like they did us a favor. Game companies do be like this oftentimes, where they'll take 2 steps over the line, predict the backlash, then take a step back and say, whoa, our bad, we have listened to the community, but they'll still have taken that 1 step over the line. They were just kind of sneaky about it. I have no reservations in my mind that this system will still stay, just in a less egregious form, but still, it is a pretty bad system all around. Here's another Twitter user who said, oh goody, more grind on top of an already grind-intensive game just to essentially unlock what seems to equate to an ornament. Nah, chief, this ain't it. And limiting it as well? Bungie, why would you do this? Indeed, the fact that you have to grind so much just to do Transmog is egregious on its own, but the true reason for that grind is so that players will be frustrated and just say, screw it, I don't want to do this insufferable, tedious thing, I'll just spend money. That's the psychological manipulation involved, but to add a cap on top of that essentially at one point forces players who are willing to go through the grind to have to pay as well. But beyond Transmog, there are also changes being made to shaders that are proving to be controversial. And shaders, for those who don't know, are the items that you use to customize your armors and apply skins and whatnot. And as detailed by PC Gamer here, the legendary shard requirement to apply shaders is being dropped, which is nice, but the cost to purchase them from the Eververse store is jumping from 40 to 300 bright dust. We're talking about 7.5 times the price of what that used to be, and while that change is nice, does it justify that level of a price increase? Most people are saying hell no. Now, we are already seeing Bungie respond, so this is a community manager, senior community manager, who tweeted, many thanks to everyone sounding off their feedback, keep it coming, appreciate the critical feedback, cheers to those keeping it respectful. As always, we're in this for the long haul, looking forward to seeing y'all get your hands on armor synthesis. Much love. So maybe this is an indication that they're considering some changes, but many are suspecting this is going to end up being a 2 steps forward and 1 step back kind of situation where, sure, they'll dial it back down, but it's still going to be bad enough. It's still going to be an overall net negative. The one thing that would go a long way to alleviate this, as suggested by Paul Tassi here from Forbes, is to remove that cap so that players who want to grind that stuff out through gameplay are able to do so with no limits that would force them to go to the Everstore. And as far as I'm concerned, even if the cap were to be removed, this whole system would still be egregious, because we're talking about monetizing Transmog, which basically involves taking stuff you already own and just cosmetically changing it to other stuff you already own. We have already seen game companies normalize the idea of monetizing cosmetics and skins, which were just unlockables back in the day. But now it feels like they're slowly but surely inching towards making Transmog yet another thing, yet another quality of life feature that they'll take away to monetize, as Assassin's Creed Valhalla did and as Bungie is very aggressively trying to do with Destiny 2. And to further highlight why this is all so awful, Forbes' Paul Tassi published an article where he broke down some numbers that really spotlight what Bungie is aiming with this monetized transmog system. So, as I previously mentioned, you can only transmog 10 armor pieces, not sets, pieces per class with earned currency per season. When you consider that there are 1,500 individual pieces of legendary armor in Destiny 2, yeah, that's not a whole lot to give out per season per class. The article breaks things down further. If you're limited to 10 items per class per 3-month season, it'll take you about 12.5 years to grind out all current armor sets for Transmog, not counting any new armor sets that will be added within that time frame. And if one were just to pay their way through this at $10 for every 5 pieces, it'll cost you around $3,000 to transmog all that armor. Now, realistically, not everyone's gonna aim to transmog all their armor, but enough people engage with Transmog enough that they're still going to have to shell out a decent amount of money to continue engaging with the system. Paul Tassi continues to insist that it's the cap, it's all about the cap. Once that's removed, then all will be well. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think removing the cap will certainly make things a lot better, but the way Bungie is going about implementing this Transmog system with a focus on monetization, even without the cap, is still awful. It still shouldn't be like this, given this is a series that is sold at full price and that monetizes expansions and has all kinds of monetization systems already and now they want to add Transmog on top of that. Again, a very simple quality of life system that allows you to change the appearance of stuff you already own with the appearance of other stuff you already own. If game companies want to monetize, actually give us something that feels additive and worthwhile instead of overcharging for stuff that you just took away to sell back by implementing an issue that you're selling the solution to. But unfortunately, this is what monetization tends to be more often than not. It is about taking away to sell back. It is about implementing systems that are intended to frustrate players into purchasing, frustrate players into spending extra cash beyond what they've already spent. And to see Transmog now kind of leaning into that direction where game companies are trying to monetize that aspect, you know, it feels like 5-10 years down the line, Transmog will be yet another quality of life feature that will cease to exist as something that just is and will just be monetized by most games. Some people like to defend this stuff by saying that cosmetic doesn't matter, it's just cosmetics, but I care about cosmetics, as do many people. I like to visually customize my characters. Video games are a visual medium. Like how my armor looks in Skyrim, for example, like I give a shit about that. I'll sometimes make decisions based on my look because, you know, again, it's a visual experience and seeing my character look cool is a part of the gameplay enjoyment. And game companies know this. That's why skins are so popular. That's why they're so monetizable. That's why they make so much money off of skins. And now they're trying to do the same with Transmog, and that freaking sucks. I don't want to see this trend continue. Microtransactions have already taken away so much to sell back, and now it feels like Transmog is, you know, yet another thing that game companies will look at as a trending gameplay element that they can strip to monetize. And I just don't want this trend to grow. I really hope Bungie will kind of really fix this, pull back on this significantly, not 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. But I don't have much faith that that'll happen, that they'll grow a conscience and say, yeah, this is all completely wrong. Same with Ubisoft with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You know, I suspect that as the years go by, this stuff might get worse. I hope that's not the case, but you know, we've seen these kinds of trends with other monetization systems. We have seen how they've inchwormed their way to all of the current monetization systems. We have seen how they've kind of taken that line and moved it forward little by little with this 2 step forwards, 1 step back maneuver. And it feels like with Transmog, the same thing is happening. The goalpost keeps getting moved for what's acceptable monetization-wise. And soon enough, I feel like many more games will more heavily start monetizing Transmog when it shouldn't be. So this is just across the board a very bad look for Bungie, a company that left Activision, but seems to still be behaving like Activision. What Bungie is pulling here does not feel any better than what Activision would have done, and that's just an unfortunate reality that we're seeing right now. And I really hope Bungie does a complete 180 on this and really does right by a Transmog system and, you know, show that this isn't the kind of direction that they're leaning towards for other stuff down the line. But that's just one man's take. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Bungie's implementation of Destiny 2's Transmog and all of the backlash surrounding it. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.